Exodus chapter 31. See what I did there? I'm going to edit the video and nobody's going to know that I said all that stupid stuff at the beginning of class. The Lord said to Moses, "See, I've called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and I've filled him with the Spirit of God, with ability and quietness, and intelligence, with knowledge and all craftsmanship, to devise artistic designs, to work in gold, silver, and bronze, in cutting stones for setting, and in carving wood, to work in every craft." This guy is incredibly skilled. And God says, check this out. I've given this specific guy this skill. You're going to hire him to do this work. "And behold, I have appointed with him Oholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan." Interesting. Good news out of the tribe of Dan is rare. And we'll talk about that later. So this guy, I find that very interesting that a Danite is involved in this. "And I have given to all able men ability that they may make all that I have commanded you." So this is God-given ability. And guess what? It's still the way it is. The Lord has given to you the abilities that you have today. And you're like, well, I mean, I was born with some talents, but I worked to build my incredible skills at sticking my finger way down in my throat in the middle of class to pick at something in my teeth.
I was still getting.
But, listen up, the Lord gives you the ability to grow your skills. He gives you an environment where you can do these things, and they're all part of His plan to use you. You realize that before you're born again, you are a dead body on the battlefield, right? You've been struck down by sin while you were at war with God. And while you were still His enemy, Christ died for you at just the right time, and He gives you the ability to be brought back to life, to be raised to new life in the Lord. It's called being born again. But what do you do after that? You're on the battlefield, and you've traded sides from being on the side of rebellion against God to being on God's side. And guess what? You're part of the battle now. You are given abilities to build, to tear down, to overcome, to outmaneuver, to overpower the enemy, to rescue people out of the fire, to share the good news in the way that people shared the good news with you and brought you to the Lord. Why are you talking over yours? Okay. The reason you were talking over me is because you decided what you had to say was more important than what I had to say. And you're wrong. Okay, moving on. "And behold, Oholiab, other people of skill, that they may make all that I have commanded you. The tent of meeting, the ark of the testimony," and these things we've talked about in detail already. Watch the videos if you want to know. "The tent of meeting, the ark of the testimony, the mercy seat that is on it." Notice how the mercy seat is always mentioned separate from the ark. The ark is a box. The lid to that box is a throne, and Jesus is going to sit on that throne when He judges the world. "And all the furnishings of the tent, the table, its utensils, and the pure lampstand with all its utensils, and the altar of incense, and the altar of burnt offering with all its utensils, and the basin, and its stand, and the finely worked garments, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons for the service of the priests, and the anointing oil, and the fragrant incense for the holy place, according to all that I've already told you about, I've commanded you." These guys that I've told you about, that's what they'll do. So you've got Oholiab and Bezalel, and they are in charge with their incredible skills, God-given, worked by Him, but worked on by them every day. Everybody that has skills, you got to work those skills or you lose them. You got to work those skills to grow them. And I guarantee you, Oholiab and Bezalel didn't wake up one day and go, "I know everything about metalsmithing and gem setting and wood carving." Wood carver? No. They worked every day at it. But even so, the Lord says, I gave them those skills. Anyway, I find that very interesting. and all the other people that are skilled in craftsmanship, God says, these are the people that are going to build all that stuff I already told you about. And the Lord said to Moses, you are to speak to the people of Israel and say, above all, you will keep my Sabbaths. So, I'm pretty sure this is the first place I've heard the Lord say, above all. This is the number one rule for you guys. Keep Shabbat. What in the heckums is a Shabbat? And what does it do? And how do I do Shabbat? Just stop. Just stop. That's what it means. It means stop. Quit it. Calm down. Hold still for once. Relax. Put down your tools and rest. Literally, stop working. That's the Lord's message to you. Hands for raising. What were you saying?
And when the day comes back, in those times, if you worked, you would be put to death.
Yeah, we're actually going to hear about someone. You know how I've said before that as soon as Israel gets a command, somebody breaks it? We're going to see that pretty soon. Yeah.
So it's basically like if you don't take the weekend off, you'll die.
One day, the seventh day of the week, which would be our Saturday, there's a reason we do church and stuff on Sunday, and most of us here are not Jewish, so this is not a command for us, but it is something that you can enjoy and do, and that's one of the reasons that we get Saturday and Sunday off. Some people worship on Saturday and take it as a day of rest. Other people worship on Sunday, and it's just convenient for everybody to have those days. That's why it's generally the weekend for us. But for Israel, there's the one day a week at the end of the week. There's also holidays where they're supposed to do religious things and have feasts and celebrate the Lord. And there's one day, the Day of Atonement, where everybody is supposed to consider their sin and bring it to the Lord and ask for the Lord to intervene, to rescue them and to forgive them. So, those are all Shabbatim. Yes, Shabbatim, the plural of Sabbath. Keep my Sabbaths, because this is a sign between me and you throughout your generations. There's also a Sabbath year, but we're not going to get into that right now, unless we get into it right now. That you may know that I, the Lord, sanctify you. What is to be sanctified? To set someone apart. To set someone apart from the world. God cleans you up. God gives you power and skill, right, to take part in the battle that's going on in the world today. Battle for the souls and the lives of human beings. Will you follow the Lord, or will you live in rebellion and die there? He gives you that, and he also sets you apart from the world. Not to take you out of the world, but to keep the world from taking you back. Does that make sense? All right. And even here, the Lord desires for the Israeli people to be set aside for him, to be his people. And Sabbath, he says, is the number one way people will know that you're different from everybody else. And historically, this is actually something that has played out. The Jews take their Sabbath, they take their days off that they're supposed to, and their neighbors laugh at them because they don't work for a day. And there's so much they could get done if they would just work another day out of the week. And yet, they're able to get more done. Because relaxing and resting and taking a day off is important. And it's actually better for you. Now I see articles that say the 4-day work week is the way to go. It's for more productivity. No, that's for lazy people. 6 days you work, and on the 7th day you rest. That's the command of the Lord. So God's got it figured out. 6 days of work, 1 day of rest is the best way to go. And it sets you apart from the world. Notice, by the way, this is really a message for me, 6 days of work, right? No days of being useless are allowed. 1 day of rest. Okay. And if you work hard, that 1 day of rest is the sweetest thing in the world. Plus holidays, by the way. Okay. 14. You guys are so good. You shall keep the Sabbath because it's holy for you. God's just shown them how to make all these holy things, right? That they build and work with their hands, that they need to respect or they'll die. I was just listening on the radio. Later on in Samuel's going to tell us about how 50,000 fellas in a village looked into the ark because they were curious and they all died. Right? That's being built today in these chapters. And God says, the Sabbath is holy. Keep it, or else. Everyone who profanes it shall be put to death. Well, there's the result. If you don't honor the Sabbath, if you don't keep it, to profane something means to bring it down to earth level. This is holy. It's God's way. If you're going to take it and make it just a regular worldly thing, or bring it down into the dirt, right? If you're going to walk on it instead of letting it lift you up, death. Death.
Yeah.
Public execution in this case. Boy, kind of glad I'm not Jewish. Whoever does any work on that day, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. And again, that phrase, cut off, means to be publicly executed. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath day of solemn rest, holy to the Lord. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath day will be put to death. Therefore, the people of Israel will keep the Sabbath, observing the Sabbath throughout their generations, as a covenant is a promise, forever. It is a sign forever between me and the people of Israel. Again, this is a Jewish thing. How long does it last? Until Jesus comes? No, forever, right? Forever. It is a sign forever between me and the people of Israel that in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. Does God get tired? How can he rest and be refreshed? I don't know.
Maybe terminology.
I don't know. I know God can do as much as he wants to do. But I guess he can also take it easy. Not because he has to, but because he wants to set an example for us. Isn't that what he just told us? 6 days I worked, and the seventh day I relaxed. That's literally what he's saying, right? Rest and refreshing. He's relaxing. He's kicking back. He's not getting off the couch today. He's watching his shows. You know? He's taking it easy. There's probably ice cream in the room, right? So, 6 days he worked. Seventh day he rested as an example to us. And he gave to Moses, when he had finished speaking with him on Mount Sinai, the 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of stone, written with the finger of God. Next chapter, the golden calf. These tablets, like Alka-Seltzer, are not going to last long. Okay? Any questions? Yeah? No? All right, let's
What's
get out of here.
Alka-Seltzer?
Yes.